So the Golden Globes are tomorrow, Sunday the 6th of January, and to be honest, I think this is one of the most unpredictable award seasons that I've followed so far. Yesterday we had the PGA nominations, which didn't really give us too many surprises. The only real snub was Mary Poppins Returns, Good Day for A Quiet Place, and Crazy Rich Asians, but I don't think either of those two films are going to factor much into tomorrow's Golden Globes race. So the first category that we'll start with is Best Picture Drama. And we have the nominees here: Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. I think A Star Is Born is taking this category. I don't really see any other threat that was strong enough at the Globes. Black Klansman did have a good showing with nominations, but it did miss screenplay, which I feel like if it was going to win, it may have hit because of the strength of the film's screenplay. Obviously, A Star Is Born didn't hit screenplay either, but it's not really expected to be a major player in that category at the Oscars. And for Black Panther, I think is the only other real strong film in this race, but that also missed director and screenplay here at the Globes. Cooper made it into director, Cooper and Gaga made it in, and I do think in a year where we are lacking a frontrunner, I think A Star Is Born is as close to that as we have right now. And obviously Roma not being in this category makes it a little easier to predict. So I'm going for A Star Is Born for that category. Now the next category we have is Best Picture Musical or Comedy. Crazy Rich Asians, The Favourite, Green Book, Mary Poppins Returns, and Vice. Now, Vice obviously had a really strong showing with nominations, but since then we've had the critical reviews come out for the film. I've yet to see it. It's one of the only films I've yet to see from this list, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big winner here. I have it winning a category later on in the night, which I'll go to in a minute, but I do think this race is between Green Book and The Favourite, but The Favourite did get snubbed for director. Yorgos Lanthimos did not get nominated for Best Director, so I would probably have to give this category to Green Book. I think it's less divisive than Vice. I think they obviously really liked Green Book. Peter Farrelly got into director, which is kind of a surprise because it's not really a big director's film, so they obviously nominated him because they really like it. I think it also has strength in acting categories as well, contending for the win there. I do think this is close between Vice, The Favourite, and Green Book, but I do think Green Book takes this, and that will be a massive win if it pulls it off heading into the Oscars. The next category we have is Best Actor Drama. Now, a lot of people think that this is a race really between Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born and Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't think Dafoe, Hedges, or Washington are really players in this category at all. I'm going to go for Cooper. I think this Rami Malek surge in the last few weeks has been almost surprising. Even more surprising is that the Bohemian Rhapsody made it into the SAG Ensemble a couple of weeks ago, and it also made it into the PGA lineup. So it obviously has its supporters with both the Hollywood Foreign Press and the industry itself. But I just don't feel like Malek's performance is better than Cooper's. It could be just bias here, but I think the Globes obviously love Cooper. They've given him a nomination in director as well, and I don't think he's going to win in that category. So I think the place for them to reward Cooper for this film is in Best Actor Drama. So I'm going to go for Cooper. I won't be surprised if Malek wins. I'd probably be disappointed because I don't think that film is anywhere as strong as A Star Is Born. But yeah, I'm going for Cooper for that category. And for Best Actress in a Drama, again, I think this is a two-horse race between Glenn Close for The Wife and Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born. Again, I think for Kidman, McCarthy, and Pike, the nomination was the win itself for those ladies. This is an interesting one because I wasn't really keen on The Wife, but there is this overdue narrative underway heading into the Oscars for Glenn Close, and Glenn Close is an amazing actress and she does a good job in the film, but it's a film that I don't see people being all that passionate about when it comes to winning. And I think a film that clearly has passion with the Hollywood Foreign Press here is A Star Is Born. Lady Gaga is a big musical presence. I think she gives an outstanding performance, and I think it's another category in which they can reward A Star Is Born, which they clearly liked. So I'm going for Gaga in this category, and obviously that would mean that A Star Is Born is winning those top three categories: drama actor, drama actress, and drama picture, which I think after tomorrow night we will then see A Star Is Born as the established frontrunner heading into the industry awards and the Oscars themselves. For Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy, once again, I think this is a two-horse race between Christian Bale for Vice and for Viggo Mortensen in Green Book. I have yet to see Vice, as I've said. Viggo gives a fantastic performance. We obviously know that Christian Bale is transformative. The reviews have been divisive, and they seem to love both of these films. Now, I think because I've gone for Green Book winning Best Picture, Musical or Comedy, I'm also going to go for Viggo here, and I think that will give him a huge boost heading into the Oscar nominations. I won't be surprised at all here if Bale wins. I will be surprised if any of the other three men in this category win: Miranda, Riley or Redford. I do think this is between Bale and Mortensen. My pick is Mortensen, but Bale wouldn't surprise me, but I think Green Book is going to be stronger than Vice when it comes to winners. For Best Actress, Musical or Comedy, we have Emily Blunt, Mary Poppins, Olivia Colman, Elsie Fisher, Charlize Theron and Constance Wu. Again, as with the other lead categories, I think this is a two-horse race between Emily Blunt and Olivia Colman, but I think the favourite overall is a much stronger film. Awards-wise, I think they're both fantastic. I think both performances are fantastic. I'm going to go for Olivia Colman winning, but this feels like Emily Blunt's year. She had A Quiet Place. She's fantastic in Mary Poppins. Julie Andrews has spoken about how much she loved her performance, and I think that's going to help her leading into Oscar nominations. But I'm going for Colman because I think she is contending for the win at the Oscars, where I don't think Blunt will win at the Oscars. So this could give a huge boost to Colman, and I think it's a good way to reward the favourite, because I think this is probably the only award it will win that night, although I would love to see it win Musical or Comedy, but again, as I said, I think that's going to Green Book. So now we have obviously the two supporting categories, and the rest of these categories now aren't split between drama and comedy. So for supporting actor, we have a very strong lineup: Mahershala Ali for Green Book, Timothée Chalamet for Beautiful Boy, Adam Driver, Black Klansman, Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell for Vice. Again, I have not seen Vice. I think this is a toss-up between Ali and Richard E. Grant. I think I'm going to go for Ali because the year he was sweeping awards for Moonlight, the Hollywood Foreign Press shockingly gave Best Supporting Actor to Aaron Taylor-Johnson for Nocturnal Animals, and we know that the Globes kind of like to go back and reward people that they did not reward when other people were. So for example, when Quavenzano Wallace was nominated for Beast of the Southern Wild at the Oscars, she didn't get into the Globes, so they later nominated her for Annie. So this feels like something where they didn't give Ali the award for Moonlight, so now they can make it up to him by giving him the award for Green Book. Also, I think Green Book is stronger than Can You Ever Forgive Me, clearly, from the nominations tally between the two. Grant is great in Can You Ever Forgive Me, and I think he'd be a worthy winner, but I think Ali takes this, but again, it could go anywhere. I'd like to see Adam Driver maybe win this. I think Chalamet's in for a shot because he is still adored, clearly, by his peers at the moment, and he's got a big future, and obviously he didn't win for Call Me By Your Name last year, but I do think Ali is slightly ahead in this race, so I'm going to predict him. Now for supporting actress, we have two of the ladies from The Favourite. We also have Regina King, Amy Adams and Claire Foy. Now, before the SAG nominations were out, I would have said that Regina King was a slam dunk here for the win, because it seemed like she was going to sweep. She was winning every critics group. She won LA, she won New York, and it seemed really obvious that Regina King was going to sweep the way other actors have swept, such as J.K. Simmons in the past, but she got snubbed at SAG, really surprisingly, for Emily Blunt in A Quiet Place and Margot Robbie for Mary Queen of Scots. Those were the two surprising nominations there. So originally I would have predicted Regina King, but I actually think this is where the Globes are going to award Vice, and they're going to give this award to Amy Adams, who is a beloved actress by the Hollywood Foreign Press. She's been nominated for films that she didn't get into at the Oscars, such as Big Eyes, for example. So they clearly like Amy Adams, and I think they clearly liked Vice, even though I don't think they're going to be as hot on it now that the reviews have come out. So I think that Amy Adams takes this. I'd like to see maybe a surprise Emma Stone win, but I think they could be split between Stone and Vice because people obviously have a different favourite in that film. And I don't think Claire Foy is a factor in this race, even though she's a very much loved actress. First Man, for whatever reasons, has not took off in this race at all. So I don't think she's a factor here. So I'm going to go for Amy Adams. But I do think if Regina King wins this award, we can be much more confident in confirming her as the Oscar frontrunner, and maybe that SAG was just the blip. But I think if she loses this, as I'm predicting, then I think we definitely have a race on our hands in that category. Now the next category is Best Director. This is, again, quite a hard category to predict. I don't think Farrelly or McKay are in the running here. I think it's between Cooper, Cuarón and Spike Lee. Because I've gone for A Star is Born winning Best Drama, I'm not going to predict Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman. I do think if BlacKkKlansman wins Best Picture, Lee wins as well. But I do think this is then probably between Cooper and Cuarón. And I think because Roma isn't eligible for Best Picture Drama, it's only eligible for Best Foreign Language Film here. I think this is a good opportunity for them to give Roma a big major award, and certainly a big major televised award. And I do think Cuarón is going to ultimately sweep all of the director awards this year. I think he wins DGA, I think he'll win BAFTA, and I think he'll win the Oscars. So this seems like the right place for him to start. The only way I see him losing is if they are absolutely in love with A Star is Born, and it's so undeniable to them that they bring Cooper along for the ride. But I think because I think he's winning Best Actor, there's no reason for them to give him director as well when Cuarón is right there. They snubbed Sam Elliott for A Star is Born, and as I said before, they didn't put it into screenplay, so it's not as undeniable to them as, say, La La Land was. So I think Cooper can afford to lose this. It doesn't really affect him. He's certainly a slam dunk for a director nomination at the Oscars. So yeah, I'm going for Cuarón here, and I think he'd be a very worthy winner. Now we have Best Screenplay, which is quite an interesting category. As I said before, no BlacKkKlansman here, which is quite a surprise. We have Roma, Green Book, The Favourite, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Vice. I absolutely love the screenplay to If Beale Street Could Talk. I think the first act of that film is outstandingly written. But it feels like it's probably the weakest of the five in terms of the strength of each film. Again, I don't think they're going to give Vice the award in this category. I think it's probably between Green Book and The Favourite. I don't think Rome is going to win screenplay either. This does seem like a good place for them to reward The Favourite along with Best Actress. But again, Green Book, I feel like is going to be very strong with the Globes. I think now I'm predicting a Vigo win, and I'm predicting an Ali win, and I'm predicting it to win comedy. I'm going to predict it for screenplay as well, which could be foolish. I think The Favourite is probably, in my opinion, a better screenplay than Green Book. So it's quite an interesting race between them. But I do think that Green Book is going to be stronger for the win for comedy picture, which is why I'm going to have to predict it for screenplay as well. We do see that the Globes sometimes, they like to spread the wealth. But clearly, as I've said before, Vice is winning for Adams is my prediction, and I think that Roma wins director and The Favourite wins actress. So everything there is kind of rewarded already. So I do think Green Book takes screenplay. For Best Original Score, we have A Quiet Place, Isle of Dogs, Black Panther, First Man, and Mary Poppins Returns. This is a really interesting category to me. I don't think Beltrami will win for A Quiet Place, and Desplat, although is probably the most beloved composer here, I don't think he's winning for Isle of Dogs. So it kind of comes down to Panther, First Man and Mary Poppins. I think I'm going to go for a Mary Poppins win. I would have said First Man, but it's clearly not getting anywhere in this awards race outside of this category. I don't even think before he makes it into the Oscars now. Mary Poppins is clearly quite strong with the Hollywood Foreign Press. It got nominated for Comedy Musical Picture. Blunt was nominated, Miranda was nominated, an actor. So I feel like this is a place where they can reward that, and it's a fantastic score. I think at the moment it's out in front for the Oscars original score as well. So I think this is a good place for it to begin possibly a sweep. So yeah, I'm going for Mary Poppins for original score. For original song, All the Stars, Girl in the Movies, Requiem for a Private War, Revelation and Shallow. I think this is, outside of foreign language film, this is the easiest category to predict. Shallow isn't losing here, and it's another place where Lady Gaga can be rewarded. I think this is a very easy win. For Best Animated Feature Film, we have Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Murray, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, Spider-Man is the most critically acclaimed film here. I think it's clearly getting a lot of respect online. I think there's a case where it can be considered the front runner at the Oscars. It's clearly the most critically acclaimed. And I'm going to predict it here as well. Although I would say look out for Isle of Dogs for the Globe. I think the Oscars, I think Spider-Man has it. Incredibles 2 maybe is an upset. I don't think Isle of Dogs wins the Oscar, but I think it getting into original score shows that they did like it enough to nominate it somewhere else. So we have to watch out for Isle of Dogs in this category. And obviously Wes Anderson is a very respected filmmaker, but I think I'm going to predict Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse here. And finally, for Best Foreign Language Film, we have Capernaum, Girl, Never Look Away, Roma and Shoplifters. I think this year has been very strong for foreign language films, even films like Cold War, which was surprisingly snubbed here, and Burning is another fantastic film that made the Oscar shortlist. So the foreign language film category is very strong indeed, and it's almost a shame that we have such a clear frontrunner this year, because I think in any other year, a film like Shoplifters, for example, would be a frontrunner. But Roma is clearly undeniable this year. It's clearly loved by the Hollywood Foreign Press. It got nominated for director and screenplay, and obviously it couldn't be nominated for Best Picture Drama because it's in this category. So I think it's a straightforward win for Roma. So overall, just some final thoughts. I do think that A Star Is Born is going to be the first film to really emerge as a kind of front runner heading into the Oscar nominations. I think it wins for Cooper and Gaga, an actress. I think it wins Best Picture Drama. I think with Cuarón winning director, Roma becomes a stronger player in the race as well. And I think Green Book emerges as the dark horse with a comedy picture win and also a couple of acting wins. So it should be a really exciting night. This is a really unpredictable race this year, much more so than recent years that I've been following. So I'm very excited. I will do a reactions video as well the next day to give my thoughts on what I thought of the winners, where I think the Oscar race stands now. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you all later.